So have you had a good day? Have you had a bad day? Have you had a frustrating day? Has your moods changed throughout the day? Some parts of the day being brilliant and other parts being, ooh, crazy. Well, that's normal for us to feel a whole range of emotions during the day. So how do you change your emotional state? How do you move back into a positive mindset? What do you do on a daily basis to keep a healthy mindset? If you're a music teacher, you know how powerful music is and how great it is at changing emotional state. And I'm sure that you, like myself, do this fairly regularly, particularly on those bad days. You get in the car, you put your music on really loud, you sing along to your favourite song, and by the time you get home, some of that frustration that's built up through the day, the stress and tension, has started to unrelease. So today I'm going to talk about emotional growth and how we can help our students develop emotional growth in our classes. I'm Rachel Hardman and this is Passionate About Music Education, and I'm so excited to talk about emotional growth because I think this is one of the really great skills that we teach our students and is an essential life skill. What's more important than being able to understand the different emotions that we go through each day and also understanding how we can control them, how we can change our state from frustration, anger, and that negative mindset and those negative emotions to a positive mindset, to positive emotions, and how music plays such an important part of that journey and progress, and how that has happened for hundreds and hundreds of years. So I love playing music to students and playing lots of different music. And when you become a teacher to start with, you get quite put off by the fact that children start singing or tapping or moving around in your class, and you're worried about losing control. And actually, the more experienced you become, the more you realise that movement, that reaction, that bodily reaction to music is so important. And particularly in secondary school, because we don't want to take that out of them if they've been doing that a lot in primary school and had that freedom to move. So it is really funny when you watch them the first time and tapping away, or they start talking. And it's easy to presume the students are being disrespectful, talking over the music, not really listening. But often they're actually sharing their opinions or a discussion about the music. So it's really great to play lots of music in the class, and a huge range of music. And I like to do that all the way from my youngest students right up to my seniors. I see it as my job to open their world of music, the breadth and depth of music experience, but also to talk about the emotions of the music, how it makes them feel, how music creates feelings. Film music is a brilliant topic. You just have to play that Jaws theme, which they all know, and how those two notes can create such suspense, such an emotional power from two notes. And students absolutely love understanding how music creates emotions. So the more we talk about that in our classes is brilliant for them to understand the power of music and why it is not just a classroom lesson, it is a skill for life, and it's such an important part of everyday life. If you're watching this, I am sure you are somebody who runs bands and choirs and orchestras and string programs and chamber groups and solo concerts and all the other wonderful parts of music making. And we know how important music making is in terms of developing self-worth, belonging, feeling that you are enough, that growth as a person, as achievement. And this is really where the emotional support that music gives students is great. How many times have you known that there's students in your band program or in your choir who is excelling in your area of the school where they don't fit in anywhere else, or where they're not excelling or not achieving? And that emotional safety we give our students, that ability to belong, to feel positivity, to feel those high energy emotions, is so, so important. So I know that's really difficult for some of us at the moment, because we're having to change our curriculum because of the times we're in. And being able to support students in that way can be really challenging, because you're not running the bands and choirs and the orchestras and working towards those Christmas concerts and all those other wonderful parts of this academic year. But we can still include that into our program, that emotional growth and that sense of belonging and communication and value. And even if you're doing general music teaching, you can still bring this into the classroom. And this year I've challenged myself much more to have to bring into emotional conversations. How does this piece of music make you feel? And giving students the vocabulary to start exploring, because it's easy to go, oh, this piece is major and it's happy, and this piece is minor and that's sad. And we know as musicians that is a very simplified version, and why not give students a whole range of vocabulary to use in your class? We want our students to grow emotionally, to feel connected, to feel a sense of achievement, to feel that they belong. And that's what we give them. And that's why it's so essential to keep music and the arts in education programs. So, some action points. How can you bring more emotional growth discussions into your classroom, particularly if you're doing middle school or high school general music teaching? So, action point 1, really get the students to engage in the story, the feelings and the emotion of the piece that you're using as a resource. I often did this with my instrumental students, and we would talk about the piece of music and go, right, what's the story? What's the mood? What is the composer trying to capture in this piece? Because if you start to create stories for the music, then you start to think about the shape of the music, the emotional flow of it. Am I playing loud dynamics? Am I playing soft dynamics, legato phrasing? And once students really start to think about the message of the piece rather than just the technical aspects, that emotional growth and that quality of sound comes. You often see people doing masterclasses and they say, oh, you've got brilliant technique, you can play that phrase, but now really think about the musical shape and the phrasing and the storytelling. And we can bring that into our classroom by doing that, even at the very earliest ages of learning an instrument or composing or just classroom performance work. Action point 2 is to encourage students to always talk about the emotion of the music. What are they feeling? What does it capture? What have they enjoyed about the music? And get them to use vocabulary. If you use PowerPoint or you're on virtual platforms, try and put up a emotional wheel of different describing emotional words, or get them to write a list of different describing words. So the students don't always come back with happy, sad, it was a bit boring, it's all right. You need to have that vocabulary, and we need to encourage them by showing that vocabulary in our lessons and having that literacy part come into our curriculum. Action point 3, don't be afraid to play a huge range of music, even the quirky stuff. I love to play Schoenberg's serialism music because it's so quirky and it's so different to what students are listening to at home and on YouTube. And just to suddenly give them this very different music, and they giggle through it and they go, oh, that's a bit weird. But students, some really love it, and they really love that, exploring different emotions. So don't be afraid to play those quirky, different types of music, because it's really good for us to keep developing the genres of music and their understanding of it and the different ways composers were always trying to create different emotions. And I do this with my band and choir students as well as my general music class. I will play them different music. I expect them to go and listen to different performers, different classical players playing saxophone and jazz, so that they're starting to really listen to music and the different tones and the different qualities, different expressions and the different sounds. The other way you could do this is if you take like a jazz standard, how many different variations on a jazz standard can you find, or can the students find as homework? And which one do they like and why? Why was that more emotionally impactful than another piece? That's really important to get students to really be reflecting on what they hear. And action point 4, we really can't avoid this at all, is the importance of music in terms of helping with mindset and mental health. You know this because we are musicians, and on those really bad days we tend to lean into music to help us. We'll put this cheesy smooth jazz on when we're having a dinner party, we want to keep a lovely relaxed feeling, or we'll put the loud rock music on when we just need to get all our aggression out and sing loudly. Whatever it is that works for you, you know the power of music in helping mindset and mental health, and we really need to bring that much more into our classroom to help our students find ways of using music as a tool to help their health and their mental well-being. We know students have a stressful time in schools now. We know that they are tested so much more, there's so much more homework, they're on computers for so much longer. The expectations from when I was at school to when they're at school has changed so much. And anything that we can do as musicians to help students find stress-relieving self-care tips for them. So even if they're not students who are learning musical instruments, it doesn't mean that music isn't important. If you're teaching general music, which I've done for 25 years, teaching students to go away and appreciate music and have a love for music, even if they don't play the clarinet or the trumpet, is so important, and the power of music to help them. So any way that you can bring that into the classroom and open their minds up to the power of music is fantastic. Easy sometimes to get so bogged down in teaching pitch and rhythm and trying to do the technical aspects of instruments, and of course working towards those Christmas concerts and everything else. But this gives us now a chance maybe just to pull back and go, what really is music education, and what am I trying to help students understand for life, and teaching students to use music for mindset and mental health and to express themselves and to have part of their identity is so powerful, because it's going to go beyond your classroom. It's going to go beyond the school that they're currently in. Hope this has been helpful to give you some action points going forward. So in this series, I've been talking about essential life skills that music teach. So if you like this and you're an advocate for music, please like, subscribe, share these videos. The more we keep promoting the message, the value of music beyond just teaching Christmas music, the better it is for our subjects and for the survival of music in education. We all know how important it is. We know how powerful music is. We know how emotionally rewarding it is. And I will keep advocating for music education because I believe it's essential. I look forward to seeing you again on the next episode. I'm Rachel Hardman, and this is Passionate About Music Education.